We don't have any statistics. Let's check our unofficial stats. All in favor of the Giants. Here we are. Look at the first downs. Yards rushing. Oilers haven't had one passing yard today. There's your total yards.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been watching my videos. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up, or maybe leave a comment below, or share the video, it means so much to me. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Well, good old Ryan Anderson, huh? Well, he's suspended for the first 6 games of the season, I guess. You know, well, the Giants signed him, you know, so, I mean, doesn't mean they're going to, I guess, want him keeping him, but we'll have to wait and see. But he's out for the first 6 games if the Giants do want to keep him for violating the league's policy, okay, on performance-enhancing substances. So he brought this one all on himself. But he can play, okay, today against the Patriots, which is at 6 o'clock tonight. So that's, I mean, if he wants to make a case for himself staying on his team, he might want to have a good day today. So, but when we started training camp, right, he was on the non-football injury list. He came in, he had a problem with his back. All right, so then he missed the first preseason game against the Jets. But then he played against the Browns. He played, I believe it was like 55% of the snaps on defense. He wound up with 3 tackles. He was in on half a sack. Okay, but, you know, nothing absolutely fantastic. If the Giants do keep him, he can come back on October 18th, which is one day after the Week 6 game. The Giants play the Rams. So he missed the first 6 games, and he can come back the day after. And he won't get paid, okay, the 6 games he's missing. So he poured it all on himself. So we'll have to wait and see, you know, what winds up happening with him, because you figure in basically about 2 days from now we're gonna get rid of 27 guys. So it's going to be an interesting game tonight. I mean, it's just a little different because you got, you know, usually this is like the last preseason game is usually, you know, all of the starters are on the sideline drinking Kool-Aid, laughing, having a good old time, and the guys trying to make the roster are out on the field making their case to make the roster. But that's not going to be the case with the Giants, because the Giants, about pretty much like the first half, maybe a little bit longer, but at least the first half anyway of the game, they're going to have their starters in there. So anybody who's trying to make a roster, make that final push to make the roster, they're going to have to do it in the third and the fourth quarter. So, as I said, in the past, I mean, you know, you get rid of 27 guys. I mean, you know, basically you got 80 guys. Okay, 27 is like a third of the team. So basically, for the last game, when you're getting rid of a third of the team, you know, you want to put those guys out there. Let's see what they can do. I mean, pretty much, I guess, going through spring training, maybe the OTAs and spring training, and then the training camp that they're in now, and they had a couple games, and they had the joint practices and all. I mean, I guess they have a pretty decent idea of who they're going to get rid of and who they're going to keep, you know. But it'd be interesting. Then we had Minshew Mania, Gardner Minshew. Okay, I mean, the Jaguars don't need Gardner Minshew anymore. So the Eagles, right, traded with the Jaguars. It's a 6th-round pick. Okay, I think it can be a 5th, possibly a 5th-round pick. All right, if Gardner Minshew, you know, comes with certain stats, I guess. I didn't see exactly what they were, but it's definitely a 6, and it could go up to a 5th-round pick. Now, I'll tell you what, that's not too bad of a deal the Eagles. The only problem is that, and I hate talking about the Eagles, 'cause I can't stand the Eagles. And if you can't stand the Eagles, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'll try to make this quick. But what they say is in the football, okay, if you got your starting quarterback, your one quarterback you're gonna, take you through the season with, you're good to go. All right. They say if you got two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. Now, if you have three quarterbacks, you have minus one quarterback. I'm not exactly sure how that math works out, but they always say is that if you have two quarterbacks that you can put in there, you basically don't really have a quarterback. So now they got Jalen Hurts. Okay, so I'm not sure what they're trying to say about Jalen Hurts now. Then they have Joe Flacco, and then they got Minshew Mania. All right, so well, we're going to be interested to see what winds up happening with the Eagles. Now, for a 6th-round pick, it's not too bad. I mean, that's where he was drafted. He was drafted out of the 6th round in Washington State. Same year with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was pick 6. Gardner Minshew was picked in the 6th round. Okay, and Gardner Minshew, with a worse team, has better statistical numbers than Daniel Jones does. Okay, I hate saying that, but so last year, obviously the Jaguars were 1-15. They somehow won the first game of the year. They beat the Colts, no less, 27-20, and they were 1-0. And I was like, man, after I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, guys, I'm pretty sure the Colts would be decent. I didn't know that maybe they'd be 11-5, but I'm like, they'd probably be decent. And they won. And the Jaguars beat them 27-20. I'm like, wow, all right, watch out for the Jaguars, okay. And then the next week, the Jaguars, it was 30-30. They were playing in Tennessee. It was 30-30. Went under 2 minutes to go. Tennessee kicked the field goal, and it beat the Jaguars 33-30. So I'm like, I'm looking at the Jaguars. I'm like, all right, the Jaguars are for real. Man, they beat the Colts the first week. They take the Titans down to the final minutes before they lose that tough contest. I'm like, man, these Jaguars, all right. I'll keep an eye on these guys, and then managed to go 1-15. So what the hell do I know? But Gardner Minshew last year, he played in 9 games. He was 1-7 as their starter. Okay, the reason why I didn't play the whole season because he had a fractured thumb, and he had some kind of something else was wrong with it, I believe, with his thumb as well, too. But he had a fractured thumb, so he only wound up playing. He started 8 games, he played in 9, okay? But, besides that, he had some very good statistics, right? He's also the first quarterback, all right, in NFL history, all right, to put up 95%, complete 95% or more of his passes and throw for 3 touchdowns in the first week of his season. He was 19 out of 20 against the Colts. He completed 95% of his passes, and he threw for 3 touchdowns. The first quarterback to ever do that. All right. Last year, with a bad team, okay, he completed 66% of his passes. He threw 16 touchdowns. He only had 5 interceptions. His quarterback rating was a 95.9. Tell you what, with a 1-15 team, that's pretty damn impressive. Okay, I don't even know if Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady could, probably would have done maybe a little bit better than maybe what Minshew would have done. But I don't even think Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady could have took that team to the playoffs. So he did pretty good, Minshew. 2019, his rookie season, right? He completed 60.6% of his passes. He had 21 touchdowns, okay, and only 6 interceptions. His quarterback rating was 91.2. So in his first 2 years, okay, right? Daniel Jones has 24 touchdowns. Daniel Jones has 35 touchdowns. All right, Gardner Minshew has 37 in less games. Okay. Daniel Jones, all right, threw 12 interceptions and 10. Daniel Jones has 22 interceptions his first 2 years. Gardner Minshew has 11. Gardner Minshew has half. I think Gardner Minshew, I think he lost 3 fumbles last year, too. Lost a few, but only 3. So, with a worse team, Gardner Minshew is putting up better numbers than Daniel Jones. So, I mean, for the Eagles, okay, to give up a 6th-round selection, could possibly be a 5th, but to get Gardner Minshew, I'm not saying it's the greatest deal of all time or nothing like that, but, you know, they got themselves a pretty decent quarterback. So I'm not saying he's taking them they're going to win a division, they're going to be 12-5, they're going to go to the playoffs. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying for a 6th-round selection, I'll tell you what, Gardner Minshew, they did the Eagles. I hate saying it because it's the freaking Eagles, but the Eagles did pretty darn good. Now I'm just anxious to see what they do, okay? Because they played their 3 preseason games, okay? So I'm very anxious to see who starts week 1 for the Eagles. If they start doing bad, who comes in off the bench? Is it going to be Minshew? Is it Joe Flacco? I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, if Jalen Hurts starts struggling, do they take him out and just leave him on the bench to rot? I mean, be very interesting to see. But I got to give the Eagles some credit. I hate doing it because it's the freaking Eagles. But, you know, Minshew Mania is coming to Philly. I live about 20 minutes from Philadelphia, so sadly I have to listen to all the Eagle fans and watch the Eagles on TV and all that stuff and everything, sadly. But I got to give the Eagles some credit. They did pretty darn good with that trade. All right. Moving on from the Eagles. Now, Louis Riddick, he's he's not a big fan of the Giants. He came in and he got interviewed, with others, but with Dave Gettleman. They were trying to find a GM, for the Giants. And Louis Riddick didn't get the job. Dave Gettleman did. Now, Louis Riddick, he's with ESPN. Okay, he's on the Monday Night Football and all that. So he knows some. I'm not saying he's obviously. I mean, he knows so much more than I do. Okay, he played in the NFL. He's trying to possibly become a GM. He's he works with ESPN. He's doing the Monday Night Football games and all. So I mean, the guy is very well versed. Very intelligent. Knows a lot about football and all that. But he's not a big fan. Pet my dog there. He's not a big fan of the Giants, okay? And I don't really know if it's because, he's just trying to maybe prove a point, which I got to give him some credit, okay? But also I don't know if it's because, he thinks the Giants, maybe he should have had the Giants job. The Giants said no. Maybe he's a little salty about it. Don't know. But he said that Dave Gettleman, okay, made a poor personnel decision. He's talking about with Andrew Thomas. He was talking about the offensive line that the Giants have. Trying to help Daniel Jones become all he can be, and and the weakest point that the Giants have had for quite some time, and with the edge rushers too, the Giants have had some problems. The weakest point the Giants have had for quite some time has been the offensive line, and he's tried. Dave Gettleman has tried. Okay, he's brought in obviously a lot of guys. A lot of them didn't work out. Some did, some didn't. Okay, he's drafted a lot of guys. Okay, not this year, but in the past he has. He brought the guys in, and he's rolling the dice, okay, that these young pups can all play together, grow up together, and become better, which certainly can happen. Louis Riddick, he was picking on Gettleman. He was also said that their bad offensive line moves are hurting Daniel Jones's chances. He said that the Giants had their choice of picking any tackle in the draft, which is right. They could have. And he said that they picked Andrew Thomas, and he said he was the worst one. He was the worst one. He said by far. Now I'm not, okay. I'm just by Pro Football Focus. All right. Jedrick Wills, right, who's drafted too. He graded as Pro Football Focus. He graded out as a 62.6. Andrew Thomas was a 62.4. Okay, so I wouldn't say by far. Maybe, Andrew Thomas struggled. He started coming on toward the end of the season. Okay, a lot of it's got to do with coaching, okay? And the coaching last year, the offensive line coaching was kind of a bit of a mess, okay? So, and Andrew Thomas was hurt. He was never going to make the excuses or anything like that, but he was hurt, okay? Then Louis Riddick also made he was commented on making fun of Joe Judge and the Giants scouting department, okay? He said, also was talking about it's just the problems they're having, on the offensive line is of epic proportions. All right, he said, the Giants, picked Andrew Thomas number 4, and that was wrong. Well, as I said, Louis Riddick knows more than I do, and he always will know more than I do and all that and everything. But I remember specifically, I was watching, the draft, okay, and I was watching ESPN, and when they asked Louis Riddick, all right, who the Giants would take, Louis Riddick said number 4, the Giants, without question. I mean, Louis Riddick didn't kind of, I think if they wanted to, no, Louis Riddick said, I think he had his pen or something, he said, Isaiah Simmons, without question. He's a guy, you plug and play, you get him, you put him in the secondary, and you forget about him. Isaiah Simmons. I remember exactly, specifically, he said that. Well, Louis Riddick, sorry, but you're wrong, okay? And if the Giants took Isaiah Simmons at the number 4, that would have been wrong, okay? They needed a tackle, all right? I guess you can look back after the season's over with and say that Andrew Thomas struggled and, he's the worst one or whatever like that. I guess that's easy to say, but Isaiah Simmons didn't exactly have a banner year last year, okay? If the Giants went Louis Riddick's way and took Isaiah Simmons, right? He played in all 16 games. He only started in 7 of them, okay? He had 1 interception. All right, he had 2 passes defensed, okay? He forced 1 fumble. He had 1 fumble recovery, all right? And in 16 games, he had 54 tackles. So he had like 3.5 tackles a game. I mean, nothing really earth-shattering. And he did have 2 sacks, okay? His pro football grade was a 59.9. All right, at least Andrew Thomas was a 62.4. Okay, just pro football focus, I get it. But our guy graded out higher than his guy did, okay? And the other thing is, when he was in coverage, Isaiah Simmons last year, okay, when he was in coverage, according to Pro Football Focus, all right, Isaiah Simmons, the quarterback rating when Isaiah Simmons was in coverage was 121.9. Absolutely pathetic. So if the Giants, okay, selected, all right, Isaiah Simmons at number 4, that would have been a mistake of epic proportions. So let's Louis Riddick, Mama's wrong again, isn't she, huh? Yeah, your pick would have been wrong too, pal. All right, so let's just slow your roll, all right? Now, Andrew Thomas, he was hurt. He struggled, all right, but let's see what he can do this year, all right? I know Dave Gettleman is rolling the dice on him, and if Dave Gettleman's wrong, might be by Dave Gettleman. But the last preseason game here we got against the Patriots, I mean, the first half, what I'm looking at is the offensive line. Can he do a little protecting? Can we get the running game going a little bit? Can Daniel Jones complete some passes? I mean, basically, his whole offense, I guess Slayton, Shepard, and Ingram will be the starters. I mean, hopefully they'll be in the game. For how long, I don't know. But, Ross ain't there. Kadarius Toney's not there. Kenny Galladay's not there. Kyle Rudolph's not there. Saquon Barkley's not there. So it's like a who's who is not going to be on the field. So Daniel Jones isn't going to have his whole first team in there. Okay, so hopefully the offensive line, this is the big offensive line. All right, can they at least protect them? Can we complete some pay? I'm not looking for them to score. Put up 20 points and 27 points in the first half or something like that. Can we score something? Okay, can we move the ball? Can we protect? Can we complete a few passes? Can we run the ball a little bit like that? Just something simple like that. Because the offense that we're going to put in there is going to be pretty vanilla. Okay, it's not going to be nothing super spectacular. But can we just get some of the basics down? All right, give it a little bit of something to look forward to when we play against the Broncos in the first week. And if the defense, you just want the defense just to look good. But the biggest thing of all, okay, please, nobody get injured. I mean, I know it's football. It is what it is. Guys are going to get nicked up and all that, but hopefully, if we're lucky, knock on wood, we'll walk out of this with very minor injuries. This will give us 2 weeks, okay, before we got to play the Broncos, and hopefully a lot of the nicks and the bumps and the bruises and all can go away, and hopefully we can field a decent team when the Broncos come in for the first game of the season. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo!